Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to a PowerPoint presentation on the Founding Fathers of the United States Constitution. As you can see on this slide is a picture of all 7 of the founders, and you will be learning a little bit about each of them. John Jay. John Jay was an American statesman, patriot, diplomat, founding father, abolitionist, negotiator, and second governor of New York. He came from a wealthy family and was of French and Dutch descent. In 1760, 14-year-old Jay entered King's College, today's Columbia University, which is located in New York City. John married Sarah Livingston, who was 17 at the time, and he was 28. They had 6 children. John Jay was against slavery. We saw the word abolitionist at the top. And on February 27, 1792, he is quoted as saying, "Every man of every color and description has a natural right to freedom." So as you can see, he was a progressive individual ahead of his time, and I'm glad to read that he was an abolitionist. Now we have Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton was the first Secretary of Treasury and the main author of the economic policies of George Washington's administration. Hamilton was born out of wedlock and was orphaned as a child and taken in by a prosperous merchant, prosperous meaning wealthy. He served as lieutenant colonel to George Washington. In 1784, he founded the Bank of New York, one of the oldest still existing banks in America. He was a lawyer and attended Columbia University in New York City. Hamilton is a musical with music, lyrics, and a book by Lin-Manuel Miranda that tells the story of American founding father Alexander Hamilton. Inspired by the 2004 biography, Alexander Hamilton by historian Ron Chernow, the show's music draws heavily from hip-hop as well as R&B, pop, soul, and traditional style show tunes. The show also incorporates color-conscious casting of non-white actors as the founding fathers and other historical figures. Through this use of modern storytelling methods, Hamilton has been described as being about America then as told by America now. So this is a musical that's very hot to trot. It's very informative and very entertaining if you ever get a chance to go see it. It's coming to Jacksonville, I think, in September, so stay tuned for that. James Madison. This information was presented by Mackenzie Davis. James and George were the only presidents to sign the Constitution. James never held a side job outside of the government. James liked to play chess and also liked to read in Latin and Greek. James introduced the Bill of Rights to Congress, which included the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And James's last words were, "Nothing more than a change of mind, my dear. I always talked better when I was lying down." Tyler Singleton also picked James Madison as a person he wanted to learn a little bit more about. James Madison was the 4th president of the United States from March 4th, 1809 to March 4th, 1817, serving 2 terms. He was born on March 16, 1751, and was only 5 inches tall. His cause of death was congestive heart failure at the age of 85, which is unbelievable because the average age lifespan was in the 50s, and he lived to be 85. He is known as the father of the Constitution because he played an important role in drafting it. He was the oldest of 12 children and grew up in Virginia. John Adams, presented by Courtney Ragland. John Adams was the 2nd president of the United States from March 4th, 1797 to March 4th, 1801. He was a politician, lawyer, and one of the founding fathers of our Constitution. His vice president was Thomas Jefferson, who became the 3rd president of the United States. In 1764, he married Abigail Smith, and they had 6 children. One of his children became a future president, and his name was John Quincy Adams. Thomas Jefferson, presented by me, Mrs. Aponte. Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd president of the United States, and those are the dates that he served 2 terms. He is known as the author of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is a document that explains why the 13 colonies were at war with Great Britain, and it explains how the 13 independent sovereign states no longer were going to be under British rule. And it was signed on July 4th, 1776, which is why every year on the 4th of July we celebrate Independence Day, because that's the day we became independent from Great Britain. His face is imprinted on a nickel and also a $2 bill, which are rare to find and can only be obtained at banks. I happen to have a couple of them because I thought it was really cool to have those. He organized the Louisiana Purchase from France, which also doubled the size of the country's territory. He bought it from France, and it really gave us a huge chunk of the Midwest. He was born in Virginia and was one of 10 children. George Washington. George Washington was the first U.S. president and served from April 30th, 1789 through March 4th, 1797. He served 2 terms. He was one of the tallest presidents, standing at 6'2". President Lincoln was the tallest, standing at 6'4". He is known as the father of his country for his leadership in the early days of the United States. He was a slave owner, but later in life he freed his slaves in 1799 in his will. He is memorialized by monuments, stamps, and currency. He is on the $1 bill. Benjamin Franklin. Ben Franklin was an inventor, writer, scientist, and so much more. He is known for the lightning rod and invented bifocals, the Franklin stove, and the harmonica, among other things. He founded the first fire department and the University of Pennsylvania, which is also known as UPenn. He was the first U.S. ambassador to France, and his face is on the $100 bill. So that's all I have today on the Founding Fathers. To learn more about them, click on the link below and it will go through each of the Founding Fathers as far as their accomplishments and their focus and a famous quote said by them. I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful day.